Hello, everyone. This is Barbolani, author of Arma 3 Antistasi Altis and Arma 3 Warlords of the Pacific, which are the same mission but in different islands with slight differences. Um, this is a basic tutorial in order to show you how to build the most basic configuration regarding Antistasi and how to get started. Okay. Uh, First of all, excuse my English. I know I have a broken English, but I hope you will understand everything. So, okay, let's get started. Um, well, as you see, this is Antistasi Altis version from the editor, and you may see the basic stuff that the editor needs to to build an Antistasi match. I'm going to explain everything in multiplayer because in multiplayer there are more options than in single player, more configurations and so on. So in single player things are easier. Okay, but I must say Antistasi works in multiplayer and single player. And well, what is Antistasi? Antistasi is a guerrilla simulator. The island is invaded by third parties. In this case, it's NATO and CSAT in vanilla, but in other mods there are other factions. And well, you have to develop a rebel army starting from scratch, doing on the early beginning small things, and in the end doing big things, big battles. Okay. Um, well, first of all, regarding mod compatibility, Antistasi supports RHS. My advice is if you use RHS, use it with all the modules. Okay, Russians, NATO, and GREF. Okay, because as far as I know, ballistics in RHS are slightly different than in vanilla, and it's not fair if you play, let's say, with NATO and Russians. And NATO, vanilla NATO, will have some advantage regarding armor, ballistics, tanks, whatever, uh, and that's not fair. Okay, so RHS is supported. The only thing you have to do is just to start with the desired mod set or load it on your server, and it will be detected automatically and used automatically. Obviously, if you save a match with RHS, there is no compatibility with vanilla, and if you start with vanilla, then you won't be able to load RHS, switch to RHS. Okay. Other mod which is integrated is ACE. Um, mm, the ACE stuff, the most basic stuff of ACE Medical, and the standard stuff of ACE is supported. But I must say that if you play with Ace Medical, obviously you have to play in multiplayer, not in single player. And Ace has no good interaction with AI, dealing with AI, Ace Medical. So my advice is that if you play with Ace Medical, do it in a very closed environment with your friends, with your clanmates, because the vanilla revive, it's not vanilla, it's an inbuilt on purpose for Antistasi revive, has much more integration with the AI. It's much more immersive, and there are a couple side effects also in the vanilla revive, which in my opinion is much better. Okay, so my advice is if you use ACE, use it with disabling the medical system. In the official website, you may find a mod set which includes ACE, but removing the medical system. So you can download it and play. And at last, for multiplayer environment, TFAR is integrated and Acre. Okay. Um, Mostly, Antistasi has been tested with TFAR. Okay, but works in both environments. And in multiplayer, my opinion is that TFAR is a must, or Acre. Okay, any of them is a must because having good communications and the immersion of having radios and well all the radio mod stuff is great. Okay, and those mods are really performing great. So those are the officially supported mods. Non-officially supported mods are everything related to client side. Okay, if you play with enhanced movement, sound mods, visual mods, those are okay. Those won't affect anything regarding Antistasi, and they will mm, they are supposed to work fine. Okay, what is not definitely supported is any kind of AI modification mod, because it will mess the things totally with the AI in Antistasi. Antistasi has an inbuilt AI modification, okay, and also uses UPS for garrisons, and you will find Antistasi AI very smart compared to the other missions in the scene. So you won't need VCOM or whatever other mod to play with. Indeed, Antistasi detects them or most of them, and if they detect them, Antistasi stops because there will be several malfunctions. So please do not use any kind of AI mod because of those reasons. Okay. Um, so let's get started. I will start in multiplayer. In multiplayer, uh, local host or dedicated server are both supported and will work fine in both. Obviously, my advice is if you can have or pay or rent a dedicated server, I think things will be better because uh, if you play in hosted environment, the hoster is the computer of the hoster is doing all the server stuff plus the player stuff, so it will be more loaded. Okay, but it's okay. Lots of people play with hosted environment. So let's start. Okay, here's the lobby. You will find when you build the, the match. We have three factions. Okay, first one is the headless client faction, which is not really a faction, obviously. Up to 3 headless clients are supported in Antistasi, and the mission itself will balance the AI load between them. And my advice is if you can pay or have a headless client is always a good idea because the AI will behave much better. They will have more resources and won't be as clumsy as in a single player or hosted environment on which uh, the AI when the mission is loaded with lots of AI, they may behave a little bit stupid. Okay, so if you can use headless clients. The other factions, the main factions is Green 4, okay, and those are the rebels, the guerrilla ones. And well, the only thing to mention regarding this faction is that Antistasi requires a commander, and if you pick this slot, default commander, then this guy on the starting of the match will be the commander. Okay, if everyone picks another slot, okay, there will be also a commander, but I cannot predict which of them will be commander. Okay, so one of them will be, but we don't know why. If we select this slot has priority, and you will be commander. Okay. The other faction is the PvP faction, which is Blue 4, and is intended to be some kind of counter-insurgency faction. Okay, it has some requirements we will see later on, but mainly you have to know that there must be some balance between number of players in blue 4 and number of players in the green 4 side. Okay, because if we play only blue 4, this has no sense. Okay, blue 4 is intended to be uh, a faction that gives some spicy and some intelligence and some unpredictable things, because there are players in there. Sorry, but mainly you have to use the rebel faction. Okay, and very important from here, what to do is to configure the match with this button parameters. Okay, here we can tweak lots of things. I'm going to explain every of them. Okay, first of all, load last persistent save. I must say, Antistasi does not support vanilla save. The button is disabled in both multiplayer and single player, because of technical reasons. Okay, you cannot use vanilla save. There will be some malfunctions, so I decided to remove those buttons and build my own with a third-party script save system. Okay, um, the main advantage also of using this system is that it doesn't matter if I update the mission. Most of the releases will have backward compatibility regarding saves. Most of them, not every of them, but most of them. So you won't lose any progress if I update the mission. In any other mission, if I make one single modification, you will lose your saves. Okay, in Antistasi it doesn't happen most of the times. Sometimes I have to make some big changes, and then there won't be backward compatibility. Okay, by default is on yes. In the parameters menu, all the options have a default value. Is intended to be for open dedicated servers, just in case you want to build um, an open environment on which everyone can play. Those are my my default values to do it. Okay, but obviously you can change it. As I am starting a new match, then I have to click on edit and say no. Okay, so I will start a new match. If I leave it on yes, then it will automatically load the last session. Okay, enable autosave every hour. It's, well, you can understand it. The server will save the session every hour. Another very important parameter is server membership. The purpose of this is in open environments on which anyone can join. If everyone can do everything, can be commander, can recruit AI, can pick any kind of weapon, and do some things, it may ruin your game. So that's why I built this feature that allows only trusted players to do all the stuff that can be done in Antistasi, mainly be a commander, recruit AI, and some other things. Okay, so my advice is, if you're playing just with a few friends in a hosted environment, for example, disable this option, and no membership check will be done for anyone. Okay, if you are building an open dedicated server and you don't want a troll joining your server and start to do team kills, start to recruit AI and deplete your resources, start to pick the most valuable weapons, and so on, then enable this. He will join, but he will be limited to do some actions which won't ruin the game. Okay, so as I am building a match just for myself, I will click on no. Okay, so everyone is member, everyone can do anything. Commander switch is an option uh, which allows people of the same faction to compete for being the highest ranked player. And if you are the highest ranked player, you will become automatically commander. Okay, it's well, it's a small option. Most of the people uh, um, disable it. Okay, because they agree that someone should be the commander no matter his rank in game. But well, it's just an option. As I'm playing alone, I will say no. But anyway, if I if I state if I keep it with yes, it will be the same. Okay, team kill punish in case a troll comes or someone makes a mistake and kills someone from his faction, he will be punished to and teleported to do nothing for a few seconds. Okay, this has to two purposes. First of all, avoid trolls. Okay, in open environments is good. This, and second, well, having a some kind of small punishment in order to avoid these kind of things is always good. Okay. Anyway, I'm playing alone. Distance from HQ for side missions is the distance when you ask for side missions. They will be at 4 kilometers from your base with a standard value. Okay, you can edit it to have what these other distances, 12 kilometers and so on. Whatever you please. Okay, this avoids missions appearing very far away from your HQ, which is not fun. It has no sense. Okay, allow PvP slots is by default yes. Okay, so PvP players can join the server. This is related to server membership. If you have enabled server membership, then only members will be able to join the PvP side. Okay, because of the same, troll can ruin your mission and do things in a bad mood. And the aim of Antistasi is to have fun in simulating guerrilla, and those have to be trusted players that do things in a right way. Okay, not trying to find exploits and try to crash your game. Okay. Friendly player markers, you can enable or disable it. Is just an option that shows markers in the map to know where are your other, where are other players in your faction. Okay, as easy as that. AI skill, you can tweak it to make it harder or easier. My advice is to leave it in normal. Number of the same weapons required to unlock. Okay, we will go forward with this, but I in advance I told you that Antistasi has an arsenal, uh, and in order to have unlimited supply of some weapons, you have to loot them from the enemy, and when you reach a certain number, which is in this case 25, then they will be unlocked. And being unlocked means that you will have unlimited supply, and the AI may spawn with those weapons. Okay, and rate of civilian traffic. Okay, there are civilians doing trips from cities to cities, and this parameter just puts a limit on how many civilians are around. Okay, but well, my advice is leave it in medium. The server won't suffer from performance issues. Okay, but anyway, as a review, the most important things in order to set a match is the load persistent save, because it loads the last session, server membership, In case that you are building a private environment, then disable it, and in case that you are building a public environment, then definitely click on yes. Okay, and the rest of these PvP slots also is important in case you want the PvP option or not. The rest of the parameters are not very important. Okay, and indeed you can change it in the next session with no issues. Okay, so I I have set up my Antistasi match. I click on accept. This small error is from Bohemia, it's not mine, and appears only in the editor, don't worry. Okay, and we see the map. This is the default starting point, okay? And what you see here is that NATO has most of the island. All the cities support NATO, okay? Except this small part of the island that has been invaded by CSAT, and they are enemies of both NATO and rebels, okay? This is a 3 versus 3 war. Everyone is enemy of everyone, okay? Also, you see NATO carrier and CSAT carrier markers, which are, well, the spawn points of attacks and QRFs in case that one of those factions loses the whole territory in the whole island. You will always have to deal with them because they may send whatever they want from those carriers. Okay, click on continue. Sorry, briefing notes. You have lots of information here: begin tutorial, commander options, special keys, features detail, AI management, game options. Okay, most of the things that I will explain here in this tutorial are here. Okay, so you can in-game just review this, and probably if you have an easy question, it has an answer here. Okay, click on continue. Top right of the screen, server unit completed, which means that everything is running fine. The server has initialized and everything is okay. Okay, initial HQ placement selection. Okay, Antistasi allows you to select your starting point in, well, any part of the island except these ugly red markers, which are the influence zones of the enemy positions, and obviously if you start very close to them, you will die very quickly. So well, you may start anywhere. Keep in mind that there are enemy patrols and enemy QRFs sent from several places with any destination. So if you put your HQ very close to a road which is expected to have a patrol, then you're in danger. Okay, so my first advice is to place your HQ in a safe position with a road nearby, because you will it's good to have a road nearby, because some vehicles will spawn directly on roads, and well, things will be much faster. But keeping in mind that that road shouldn't be a patrol destination near a garrison and so on, because probably your base will be under attack sooner or later. Okay, I will just leave. If you click on M or close them up, you will start in the default position, which is mostly the easiest option. Okay, so I will just close them up, and here we go. We are in our HQ. I'm going to explain the HQ basics and what's the purpose of all the options, with no detail on some of them, because, well, you are clever enough to know. what's the purpose of it. So let's get started with Petros. He's Petros. Okay, he's an AI, and he represents the defending forces of your rebel faction, and also represents if your base has been under attack and you and has been conquered and destroyed. Because the AI, the enemy AI, will attack this guy. Okay, so if a road patrol comes from here, passes through this road and detects Petros, the AI will attack him, kill him, and then your HQ will be raided. Okay, and that will mean that you will lose a lot of resources. Okay, and you will have to replace the HQ in another place. Okay, so keep in mind that Petros should be hidden inside a. Lots of people put it inside a house to avoid any random patrol, kill him. Uh, but remember what I said about placing the HQ near roads and near roads on which it's the chances of having AI patrolling them are high. Okay. From here, the another important thing is game options, which are in the map. Okay, you see in the top left mouse wheel options, game options. I click on this, and I'm going to explain what's the purpose of each button. Civilian limiter. Civilian limiter. You probably have seen. Well, I don't see anyone, but anyway, there are civilians around the player. Okay, to give some spicy usage of them in case that you want to avoid the AI sending against you, for example, mortar strikes, or to be careful who are you shooting at, because if you kill civilians, it has some reputation malus. Okay, but you can put a limit on how many civilians are spawned in the map. Okay, if I to see the civilians, you will be able to see them. Okay, now in the map you see these guys are just wandering around me. Okay, the civilians spawn in places on which there are buildings. Okay, so if you're in the middle of the jungle, there won't be any kind of civilian around. Okay, civilians are totally client-sided. What does this mean? Are executed by the player's computers, which means that the server won't have to load them, or the headless client won't have to load them, which saves CPU performance for the server. And also keep in mind that this number of the civilian limiter, which I can just add more or less civilians, the civilian limiter is per client. Okay, so if I have set it at 35, then and I have two players playing, then the civilians may be up to 70. Okay, so if you have a lot of players, it's a good idea to set this to a lower number. Okay, because you will save a bit of bandwidth. And but anyway, the amount of real spawned civilians is related to the number of buildings around. So if you have just a couple buildings around, then just a couple civilians will spawn. But anyway, you may set it on whatever number you please. And my advice is that if you play in multiplayer with a lot of people, then lower a bit this setting, which is saved by the way, so you will preserve this number. Okay, another very important parameter is spawn distance. Spawn distance, what does it mean? Antistasi has an engine which spawn AI depending on distance from players and from certain type of units, especially attackers. Okay, this is meant for garrison. So the engine is not spawning units, let's say here, okay, because that's very far away of everything, and in order to save CPU and keep the performance up, because if I spawn all the units and all the garrisons in this map, then the server will literally crash. Okay, so what is doing the engine is to check my distance with the garrisons. Okay, and if I am in the spawn distance radius, then the units will spawn, the garrisons will spawn. Okay, so the larger the number, the more AIs I will have spawned. Okay, if I set this at 2 kilometers, probably now, instead of only the civilians that are around me, you see here those blue icons are units which are the garrisons from cities which have been spawned. Okay, and you see those cities are generating traffic and so on. So keep this number as low as possible. If it's very low, you will see things spawning, which is ugly. Okay, so by default the spawn distance is set at 1 kilometer. If you are having performance issues, FPS drops, then it's good to put this on a lower number. Even when you see things spawning, it's better to be able to play than having a lot of useless AI and stupid AI in the map. Okay, but generally speaking, Antistasi will behave great with 1 kilometer. Okay, AI limiter. And Antistasi engine spawns AI constantly, as I said, but there is a total amount limit, which is by default is 140, 150. Okay, in case that limit has been reached and the engine has spawned 140 units, the engine will stop spawning with three exceptions. Sorry, mission units. Okay, squad leaders. So always, at least when the engine spawns a squad, at least will spawn the squad leader, and vehicle drivers and vehicle crews. Okay, and so if an attack helicopter has been spawned, it will spawn with full functionalities. This number, same as in the civilian spawn limiter, is per client, which means if you play with headless clients, then the limiter is set for each headless client. So each headless client will spawn up to 140 units in order to start to put some limitation. So if I have two headless clients, then an AI of 280 will be okay, and the engine will not stop spawning AI up to that number. Okay, it is not mathematically exact, because what I said of the squad leaders, the vehicles, and the missions, but we'll do the trick. Okay, so maybe my advice also is, if you play with lots of headless clients, then set this at 100 or more or less 100, because in the end you will have 300 AIs in the field, and maybe the server will suffer anyway, even when the server is not loading the AI. Okay, but anyway, if I am having performance issues, then I can switch this to 10, I can switch this to, let's say, 800, and the civilian rate to, let's say, 10. Okay, That's a side mission. And then my server or my PC will behave better and the AI will be smarter. Okay. I, generally speaking, playing in my rig, which is not definitely a top-notch rig. It's a PC bought around 3 years ago. I don't touch anything of this. Okay, I leave it this way. Music on Office, well, disable or enable the situational music script, which is not a great feature, at least in multiplayer. So, well, self-explanatory. And the last important button is persistent save. Okay, as I said, Antistasi has an inbuilt save which saves the most important things, not everything. It doesn't behave like a vanilla save. Okay, it doesn't save everything. Okay, it saves your stats, your equipment, the arsenal, the garrisons, the which sides have each zone, and well, some other things. Okay, the most important ones. Um, it's very important to keep in mind if you have the persistent save sorry, the autosave enabled, then this will be done every hour in multiplayer. But also, if you are not the hoster, if you are just a player, persistent save button also works for you because it saves your personal stuff, your personal money, your gear, and so on. So my advice is every time you go back to HQ from a successful mission, hit on persistent save. If in hosted environment, no, sorry, in multiplayer, if the commander hits on persistent save, both saves will be done, his personal save and the server save. Okay? If you are not the commander, all the save will only save your personal stats. Okay. This is the most basic things for setting up Antistasi. From here you can play. Okay. Now I will move a bit forward about some other concepts. Okay, I'm going to explain the mission mechanics and the most important features. Well, first of all, I have to explain the zones. Okay, these blue markers represent, or red markers represent cities, airport, air bases, outposts, factories, seaports, resources. And you see here also radio towers. I'm going to explain every of them. Every of them have their own garrison. So in the nearby, you will find enemies. Okay? First of all, cities. Cities cannot be conquered. Okay? Cities switch their support from one faction to another. So you have to influence the cities in order to gain them. Don't ask me, please. Don't ask me. I killed all the city patrols and I haven't conquered the city. No, you cannot do that. What you have to do is to conquer their hearts and minds. And how is it done? I click on map info, which provides information about all the map stuff. Okay, and I click here on Panacori, and it says Panacori has a population of 264 people. 51% of them are supporting NATO. None of them support FIA, and the influence is coming from NATO. Okay. How to switch this support? There are three ways. Killing soldiers makes the support change, okay, but it's not the main way to change support. Okay, but if you kill soldiers, enemies, obviously, in the near surroundings, then the support will eventually change and raise for FIA or get lower for NATO. Okay. Another thing to influence the city are side missions, especially the supply missions in the logistic category. You go to Panacori, provide supplies, and then the people will love you, and eventually the support for your faction will raise, and in the end, when the FIA support goes to a higher number than the NATO support, then the city will switch to your side. Okay. And the third and most important way to change support, as you see, is influence NATO. What does this mean? Cities are influenced by radio towers. Okay, so the nearest radio tower provides influence to the city. I suppose in Panacori case is this radio tower. Okay, so if you capture this outpost, then the radio tower will belong to you, and you will support, and then Panacori will be influenced by your side. It's like they will switch to your TV channels. Okay, so from time to time, every 10 minutes, the support will change to your side, and the NATO support will reload until it reaches the point on which your support is higher than the NATO one, and then the city will also switch to your side. Okay, and that's for all the radio towers. If I conquer this radio tower here, I will influence probably most of the cities. Okay, and it's a very, very good radio tower because you will gain a lot of influence in lots of places. And what happens when a city switches to your side? Well, then they will provide taxes and they will provide HR for you. Okay. Later on, I will explain what's taxes and HR. Another important type of zone is resources. Resources simulate, well, prime materials, raw materials, or one thing that provides money. Okay, if you capture the resources, then some money income comes to you every 10 minutes. Okay, factories are a resource boost. Okay, so capturing a factory without resources is useless. You have to capture first resources and then capture factories. And when you have factories, then they will boost your economy. Seaports are radio tower influence boosters, and also are used obviously to recruit to buy ships. Okay. Also, outposts, which are small military emplacements around the map with big garrisons, let's say, and they are tactically important because the enemy will send QRFs or land attacks from them. Okay, so if I kill, let's say, one soldier in Panacori, probably this outpost, maybe under certain conditions, will send a QRF against me. Okay, so outposts are tactically important. And also keep in mind that most of the radio towers, if not all, are in outposts. Okay, so you have to capture them in order to gain influence. And at last, air bases. Air bases are, well, you can imagine the biggest and toughest places to take in the field. Sorry, someone has called me by phone. And the garrisons are big in there, and they are the departure point of air attacks. So when the AI decides to send against you any kind of plane, chopper, or whatever, it will be sent from one of those. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 air bases plus the carriers. Okay, so they are the source of major attacks mainly. As I said, with the exception of cities, all the zones have garrisons which can be decimated. You can go to this garrison, kill a few soldiers, retreat before the enemy reinforcement comes, go back later on, and you will find the base with less units. Okay, so you can enlighten the garrisons with several attacks. You don't have to make a big main attack, especially in the early beginning, it will be difficult for you. So keep in mind that, okay? And also the size of the garrisons affect if they are able to send a QRF against you or a major attack against you or not. Another zones which are not being shown in the map are roadblocks and hilltops, what we call hilltops. Okay, roadblocks are, well, just roadblocks that are placed in a more or less random way in the map in certain points and cannot be conquered. Okay, those can be destroyed, not conquered. Um, hilltops are the same. Is when the enemy feels that this is a hot zone, then they will decide to put some spec up units patrolling around. I tell you, for example, this, yeah, it's this hilltop is patrolled eventually. If you start to be dangerous, okay, the AA will decide that this zone has to be patrolled, and they cannot be conquered too. It's just I kill the whole patrol, and then yes, the enemy won't use it anymore. Okay, so those are the zones explanation. I think I don't forget anything. Okay, later on I will do some cheats in order to show you how a garrison works. Okay, more things to know is stats. Okay, the top bar stats. Let's see it here because you will be able to see it better. From left to right, it shows my rank. Okay, as I said, if you are the highest ranked player and you have the commander switch enabled, then you will have the option of upgrading your rank, and then if you are the most ranked player, to remove the actual commander and you will become the commander. It creates some chaos, some funny situations. Well, it's an option. Okay. HR is the number of units you can recruit. Okay, 1.11 soldier, as easy as that. How to raise HR with town support. Every 10 minutes, if you have a town belonging to your side, then they will send some HR to you. And there are side missions, especially the rescue category missions, which will increase your HR with if you are successful. Okay, your money is your personal money, which can be spent for recruiting squad mates, AI squad mates, and buying vehicles. Okay, for your own purpose. FIA money is the faction money, and this is can be only used by the commander. Okay, and it's used to hire squads, hire garrisons, and some vehicles. Okay, this is one of the reasons that the server membership is enabled. Okay, because if a troll, if this feature is disabled and a troll joins your server, then he can become commander and deplete this money. Okay, airstrikes. When you have airports on your side, uh, you will gain eventually airstrike points, which can be used to ask for air support, very cheap rebel air support. Okay. Important concept is aggro. Aggro is how the enemy factions consider you a threat. Okay, it starts with 5 up to 100. It's a percentage. Okay, and under some conditions, a check on that percentage is done. Okay, so the higher the aggro, the more dangerous consider the AI you, and the more known you are in this war. So, for example, an aggro check is done before thinking about attacking you or not. If it's low, then that check probably will fail, and the attack won't be performed. There are all another consequences of aggro. It's important to keep in mind that aggro is designed to be in later game high at 100%. So don't worry a lot about your aggro. Okay, in early beginning you have to care about it. Okay, but in the late game it is totally unavoidable. to have an aggro of 100%. Your faction will be considered a total threat, an equal. Okay, so they will consider you as a target always. Okay, how is it raised or lowered? Is it raised by killing soldiers and capturing places? How is it lowered? The most important action to load the aggro is to lose territory, obviously, and to release prisoners. When you sometimes the AI will surrender, okay? If or you can just if you use the vanilla revive, you can just leave them unconscious and heal them, okay? Once you heal them, they will surrender too. When they surrender, you have an option to release the prisoner. If you release the prisoner, then the aggro will get lower. My advice is in early stages, release the more prisoners as you can, okay? But keep in mind, in mid game, in late game, this number will be high and totally unavoidable, and you will be a 100% enemy, okay? War label tries to simulate all the background stuff that a military faction requires to operate, okay? And it's totally related on what zones you have conquered, okay? And has some side effects too. It's totally related to what places you have, okay? So I'm starting, I have nothing, I am on war level 2, but as soon as I conquer cities or outposts or wherever, then the war level will raise, okay? It also affects the enemy skill, okay? So if you have a war level very high, but your AI is in low skill, they will lose all the battles and you lose a lot of territory, okay? And it is also related to the ability to capture airports and the CSAT intervention, okay? Well, and several more things, but the most important thing is to know what's the mechanic. It's related to capturing places and what and to the enemy skill level, okay? And the last parameter is undercover. You're a guerrilla fighter, and you can become undercover, become another civilian more, and the AI won't attack you. Okay. What are the conditions of being undercover? Okay. By foot is to wear civilian clothes and not having any kind of weapon, vest, helmet, night vision. You know, things that will make you suspicious. Okay, of being a rebel. Okay, in order to show you, I'm going to make a quick. If you are in shorts, also you cannot be undercover, okay? Because you are a guy in shorts. Just a little advice. So I remove my vest. I take this backpack. I don't have a helmet or whatever. So okay, now I keep my stuff inside my backpack. Well, now I'm a civilian with a simple backpack, okay, with sandals, my combat sandals. So now I click on undercover and I am one civilian, okay? The AI won't attack me. Another option is to buy a civilian card. You can, I will, sorry, I will remove undercover because some options doesn't appear if you are not undercover, if you are undercover. If I buy a civilian vehicle also, once I get in, I will become undercover too. Okay. How I lose undercover? If the enemy spots me with a rifle in my hands, obviously I have lost it. Okay. But in case of vehicles, if I go very far away from a road in a suspicious way, I may lose undercover. Also, if I enter with my vehicle in outposts, I think seaports and air bases, okay, then an aggro check is done. And if the aggro check is failed, then the AI will attack you, okay? So yes, you can go by civilian clothes to a NATO outpost, and enter there. And if your aggro is very low, position you and your men in a good position, pick your weapons and attack them. Okay, this in late stages of the game won't be able to. You won't be able to do it. Okay. Also, if I'm on foot, I can lose undercover because of enemy dog presence. The dogs smell the powder, okay, and they spot you. So you will lose undercover even on foot and even on civilian clothes when dogs are nearby. So around those garrisons, there will be small patrols, some of them, or even the gendarmes patrolling around cities. They have dogs, so I will lose undercover to keep track of those dogs. Those are the most basics. The last basic is the arsenal. Okay, what's the arsenal? The arsenal simulates a guerrilla arsenal. It has an inbuilt script. It's based on the vanilla arsenal, but with some modifications made by the master GRN. Okay, built in purpose for Antistasi. So the basic usage of the arsenal is Bohemia usage. So if you want to further explanation, please refer to those tutorials. Okay, you see here in the rifle category, I have some weapons which are unlimited, okay, and some weapons which are limited to a certain amount. Probably the same with scopes. For example, you see that if I select this rifle, then I have this option of scope, but I have only one. Okay, that leads to explain the arsenal unlocking system. What does this mean? And we've seen in the parameters part. If I loot from enemies or enemy ammo boxes or wherever enough amount of this kind of rifle, that will be unlocked. In this case, I think Cyrus is a sniper rifle. Yes. So in this case, if I unlock this sniper rifle, then two things happen. First, when I recruit a sniper AI, they will be equipped with this rifle. Okay, and same with scopes and other attachments. And second, I have to be server member in order to be able to pick this rifle. Okay. Again, if a troll joins your server and starts to pick your beloved Cyrus rifle and die or just leave it in the trash can or whatever, you will lose that rifle and you will have harder time to unlock things. So non-members can only pick this stuff. Okay, and also the AI, I say again, will spawn picking a random rifle of one of those. Okay, so just for a quick explanation, I will hire a couple of militiamen.
Be advised.
And you see them with the most basic submachine guns, which are totally crap, and those guys are dead. Okay, so what I have to do is to loot enemies in whatever way. If I loot them and put stuff on trucks or ammo boxes, I can unload those ammo boxes near this box, or put those trucks near this box and click on transfer vehicle cargo to ammo box, and those items will be automatically added to the arsenal. Okay, so from time to time a check is done, and if you have the minimum amount to unlock the thing, then it will become unlimited. That's simple. Okay, you start with scratch, some extra rifles, advanced rifles, but very bad ones at the beginning, with launchers the same. The most basic launcher you will have unlocked, and the advanced launchers, well, indeed, Titan launchers cannot be unlocked, and mines cannot be unlocked, so you won't have unlimited supply of them. Okay,
out of ammo.
Same with pistols. Well, most of the rebel uniforms are unlocked. the most basic vests, but can be unlocked. Also, the most basic backpacks. No helmets, but can be unlocked too. Well, this is stupid glasses. Night vision too. Not the most advanced night vision, can be the ones with thermals and so on cannot be unlocked, but yes, the normal night visions. Uh, um, Binoculars unlocked. Map obviously is unlocked. GPS can be unlocked. Radios, by default, if you play with Tifa, the radios will be unlocked. But if you don't play with Tifa, then you will have to unlock radios. If you have unlocked radios, well, if you no, better explanation. If you do not have yet the radios unlocked, the AI will have issues communicating with you. Okay, so this is the first thing you have to unlock,
Move
especially in
300
single
meters
player.
front.
Okay, compass, watch. Okay, so and same with ammunition. Ammunition can be unlocked too. By default, all the most basic ammunition of the unlocked rifles are available. Is available. Okay, but some other types of ammunition have to be unlocked. Well, those are the most basics of Antistasi. Please do not hesitate to make any further questions, but keep in mind these basic questions should be answered with this tutorial. And just a few tips. Don't be too quick. This is a hard mission. It has a long learning curve. Don't expect to capture everything in 1 hour. You will have to do in the early beginning lots of side missions um, and lots of small things in order to start unlocking things, gain support, gain trained soldiers, gain HR, gain resources. Okay, in order to do to be able to do bigger things. So that's the first advice for newcomers. Don't expect to do big things in the early stages. You will be able to do only small things. Pure guerrilla, hit and run. Uh, Eventually, if you get resources and and you are able to defeat some counterattacks, you will be stronger and stronger and stronger, and in the end, you will be a conventional army. Okay, but in the early beginning, don't expect to
I'm out.
don't go to capture this outpost with you and your friend because you will be dead. Okay, and if you are not dead capturing the outpost, you will be dead when the AI sends a QRF or a major attack against you. It's totally useless to do this. Okay, start with side missions. Start gaining support. Start having HR and money. Start unlocking weapons, and then when you are strong enough, then you will be able to capture some points. Okay, don't expect to be able to hold them in the early beginning. And well, I think that's all. Antistasi has several hundreds of features, but I won't explain them now, maybe in further tutorials. But I think with this, you will be able to set up the most basics and be able to start playing and enjoy the mission. Thanks for watching, and see you in the battlefield. See you in the official servers if you want, uh, on which there are experienced players which may help you also. Okay, so bye bye.